Since its inception in July of 1996, the Star Ocean series is one that I consider polarizing due to the inconsistent quality between each entry. As the series sits today, there are a total of 6 entries playable here in North America. Just to let you know, I have played and beaten a total of 4 of them, and the second story still happens to be my favorite. And with its recent remake released in November of 2023, with the help of Gem Drop Incorporated, I have found it worthy of discussion. As the game sits on Metacritic today, it has a user score of 8.4 with comments such as Sid33's, which states, JRPG at its finest, no cringy depressed whiny 14-year-old MC, no QTE boss battles. While another user by the name of Alexi970 stated, bloated, cramped, and overloaded. It would be suitable for those who appreciate sandbox components instead of, saving the world. And last but not least is Fuzz, who dropped an essay that boils down to, graphics are stunning, OST is first class, but the gameplay is boring, it is too dated, and simply poor by today's standards. Which, Fuzz, alright, I hear you barking, big dog. While he rated this game harshly, there may be some truths. But those comments were then, and this is now, and what better way to judge something than to play it yourself? So whether you're just getting into the series or perhaps thinking of revisiting it, I want you to join me as I share my thoughts about this game to answer the most important question of all. Is Star Ocean's second story R worth the play? To properly answer that question, I will be assessing the gameplay, the story, the voice acting, and its replayability, so let's get it on. Following in the footsteps of the original, combat in this game begins once the player contacts an enemy on the field. This then transports the player into a rectangular battlefield in which battles happen in real time. It is here where you're given a few options to go about it. Melee characters come with combos that can be extended with accessories, and mages come with symbiology spells. But regardless of choice, they both get arts or skills that can be used. These arts can be leveled up, which not only increases their damage output, but also can change their animations, usually for the better. Once you get deeper into the game, you can chain 2 arts together, but that is it. The additions that Second Story R brings to the table are the bonus gauge system, a counter punish, a break system, and most importantly, the assault action system. The bonus gauge is what you see at the bottom right of the screen during combat. As you defeat enemies, you accumulate these spears which can add tiers of benefits to the party, such as more experience or fall at the end of a fight. The counter punish enables you to dodge behind the enemy for a free hit, while the break system can disable them for even more damage. Lastly is the assault mechanic, which summons either a party member or other Star Ocean characters to perform either an art or spell. These little additions help to break up the quick peak that comes in combat, but in the end, it does not change its core mechanics. So if you are new going into the game, you should expect combat to level off quite quickly in terms of new mechanics. There's also one more thing about the gameplay that I would like to bring up, and honestly, I find it to be the most important observation of all. And that thing is numbers. If my memory serves me correctly, at least throughout the first 4 games, a lot of Star Ocean's gameplay is more about menuing than creativity in the combat department. What I mean by this is a focus on growing your characters through various menus such as the item creation and specialty menus. These enable the player to invest battle points and skill points into different stats. These stats then boost up your prowess in combat with your character dealing higher damage or recovering more HP at the end of a fight, or it simply allows them to become more proficient at writing so they can craft higher tier books. These are just a few examples of many, but you should get the gist of it. The gameplay is not focused solely on what happens on the battlefield, but more so on what happens off of it. Hence the title, Death by Menu, as you will be in a lot of menus throughout your time playing these games. With the battle system broken down now, let's bring a focus to the story. It begins 20 years after the original Star Ocean and tells the story of Claude C. Kenny, who is son of Ronix J. Kenny. During Claude's first mission, he gets teleported to a different planet where he encounters a girl named Reyna. Due to his futuristic abilities, the people of Reyna's village start to believe that Claude is the hero of light, and he is asked to investigate a meteorite called the Sorcery Globe. The Sorcery Globe is significant as the people of Expel believe it is the root of their recent monster problem. Along the way, Claude and Reyna meet some interesting people who also join them in their journey to track down the globe. They eventually cross paths with the 10 wise men, who refer to the globe as the quadratic spear. Turns out this old spear here is not only causing the life forms on the planet to mutate, but it is also slowly altering its orbit to collide with another planet called Energy Need. All of this was done so that the 10 wise men could get close enough to Energy Need to teleport back to it. The 10 wise men were banished from the original Need, by the way, for being some bitch. Unfortunately, they succeed in destroying Expel to get to Energy Need, but due to the power of technology, Expel is returned to its former glory after all 10 of the wise men take a long walk off a short pier. Riveting story, I know. While it is generic in its execution, i.e. random heroic guy who goes from helping a village to save the world, part of me does not mind it. There's not so much investment needed to get hooked, just two people out there trying to do good. At the same time, the other part of me wishes it went a little deeper than the bad guy trying to destroy the world and the universe, but considering this game's overall length, you will see why a more in-depth plot would have been detrimental. Sliding over to the voice acting, I'm happy to say that the event scenes are fully voiced, which is a nice touch for a text-heavy game. Additionally, a lot of the original voice actors came back to reprise their roles.
Oh, good. I was hoping you'd wait for me.
I'm sorry I ran away like that.
Oh, no, that's okay.
It's just that everything happened so quickly. I was really shocked.
Scary, huh?
Claude is voiced by Spike Spencer, who also voiced Ringabel from Bravely Default and Majin Buu from Dragon Ball Super.
You're right. I suppose I am acting a little strange, aren't I?
Reina?
I make you all nervous when I'm around, don't I, Claude? I'm gonna go out and walk around for a bit then.
Rena is voiced by Eden Regal, who also voiced Estelise from Tales of Vesperia and May from Guilty Gear Strive. The rest of the characters, while worth mentioning, are quite numerous and they each do a great job in their respective roles. I just do not want to attack you with all 10 of the wise men, so here's a small snippet of a few of them instead.
What are you talking about? Who are you?
My, how uncivilized. You people are just as underdeveloped as this planet. Flying into a rage at the drop of a hat?
No. From what I can tell, this boy is not an Expellion at all. I would say he is probably from Earth.
Lastly, let's talk about its overall replayability. My in-game time was just shy of 23 hours from start to finish, with Claude coming in at a hot level 112. If you recall, I mentioned how simple the plot was before, and it's because of this reason. There's not much to go on before the game ends to make it more than what it is. This is a blessing to those who want a light JRPG, but also a curse to those who want a 60-hour story. I found its length to be satisfying, as it does not overstay its welcome, and if I wanted to replay it in the future, I know that it would not eat up months of my time. Outside of beating the game, to then go through the maze of tribulations for more spicy battles, Second Story R also introduces raid challenges. These fights consist of 13 in total, and can be brutal without the right setup. So there's something to do post-game if you feel like you did not get enough during the main campaign. Overall, this game scores high in the replayability department for me, as whether you decide to play through the story or do the extra content, it is not a huge time investment. In conclusion, Star Ocean Second Story R is a well-crafted remake of the original that takes an already proven formula and tweaks it for the modern audience without giving up its identity. Regarding its evolution in combat, it does peak quite early on, but as stated previously, this game is more so about big numbers and game-breaking strategies versus technical prowess. So if you're looking for satisfaction based on technique, then this may not be for you. Story-wise, it can be considered generic due to its village kid goes off to save the world cliché. However, I enjoyed the timed events that happened in each town, which helped to add more personality to a plain canvas. Additionally, the voice-acted event scenes help to modernize the game with more speech and less text that the player is forced to read. I mean, come on, imagine having to read through like an entire game. Lastly comes replayability, which this game excels at due to its low time commitment for the full experience, even if you decide to go back and play as Rena. If you are interested in the series, then I do recommend this one as your first try. The reason is that it encompasses the best and worst of the series in a balanced manner. While some choices in its development are not my favorite, such as the multitude of menus within menus, the other choices such as evolving arts and combat skills are enough to keep me invested. Luckily, the demo for this game is available on nearly every platform, so you can give this game a shot without dropping any moolah. Heck, you may find yourself a new series, or find that the Star Ocean games just ain't for you.
Well, I'd say that's worth 10 out of 10.